What's up, guys? Another episode. I guess I should stop numbering these because they're starting to turn into just rants and raves, which I love. Maybe you like it too. I have no idea. Anyways, Shadow and Light. I'm your host of Light Into the Void. Little mini podcast, video blog, bullshit on my mind. Today is the 3rd of October. Big shout out to Australia who beat England yesterday in the Rugby World Cup. It was a great game. I only caught parts of it. It was a rather late night. That game was today, right? Yeah, it was today. I watched it today. The days are just fucking blurring like this together. So, big shout out to that. I did get to see the All Blacks. I watched the full game. It was hard to find. It was really ridiculous in Vegas to try to find sports bars that carry the rugby games. I did get to see New Zealand beat Georgia, which actually Georgia played really well in the beginning. The All Blacks kind of ran away with it towards the end. But in the beginning, it was pretty good. Actually, hold on. I had to go find my shirt. All black, baby. We're undefeated so far. Looking good. You know what's looking good, too, is Japan. Japan's looking amazing, actually. They did lose one test. They won two, though, and they just beat... This is turning into a Rugby Cup podcast, but deal with it. Who Japan just beat? And let's see. Samoa? I didn't really get the chance to watch this, but yeah, I mean, Samoa is a legit team. All the island nations have strong rugby teams, and Samoa is no different. And for Japan to beat them, Japan to beat South Africa in the opening, ridiculous. Anyways, World of Shadow, Vegas, Australia won yesterday, and then I happened to go out with some people and then meet a bunch of Australian girls, and, you know, it's just... Honestly, Australia wins, I win. It was a good day. Can't complain. Late night. Listen, I'm recording this at 8 o'clock at night. I'm just getting my shit together. It's late night. Worked out, had a good day. Browsed through the things of Eve. So there's a few things I wanted to just touch on real quick. There was a post on the PLEX review by the ISK.com. This guy's blog seemed to have escaped me. I don't know how active he is. He's got, a few posts every now and then. But hey, he did some pretty decent analysis on the PLEX pricing, which, as of right this second, and forgive me for pulling it up last minute, but this is an on-the-fly show and does not get more on-the-fly than this. PLEX 115, 150 million. So kind of dropped a little bit. It was sitting as high as of recently. We're going to call the high, I'm using evemarketdata.com, eve-marketdata.com. Awesome website, by the way. I love this website. The high hit, I thought the high was like at 1.3, but they're showing the high sell at 1,250,000,000. So a little bit lower than I thought. I thought I had hit 1.3, but I could have just been reading some random crap. Anyways. Long story short, this guy does a pretty good analysis. I will link this in the show notes because I've been trying to do that. The second thing is, for guys who follow Greedy Goblin, it's like, some days he just makes a ton of sense, and some days he is like, you're like lost. You're lost in the mind of Greedy Goblin, and there's not a fun place to be. But Today I'm reading, it's just a mini post from him. He usually puts some pretty in-depth stuff out. This for him is pretty small in comparison. But he puts this post out today that caught my eye. And what really caught my eye was, he's an anti-goon kind of guy, right? I think his whole mission in life is to make goons' life hell. Whatever, we all need jobs. So he says, so once again, CCP is developing for the group that yells the most and doesn't pay a single dollar, as no nullsec router would not plex. There's a little bit of truth to that statement, right? I mean, if you play fairly often and you live in a decently incomed environment, wormholes or 0-0, or you do incursions, you likely plex. And I mean, there's probably such a mixture of people who plex versus people who just do who pay, who have a credit card and just buy time because it's more cost effective for them not to spend that much time ratting and just go, do their real life, right? Work. It's always been said that the cheapest way to get ISK in the game is just to have a real job, right? And just, work for close to minimum wage. You'll have, I'm going to say even minimum wage easily would pay for plexing better than spending some of the time it takes, especially as a younger character who maybe you can't do wormholes yet or can't do level 5 missions with carriers or isn't really effective in 0-0 yet, ratting. Listen, there's some truth to this statement. How much of it is truth versus not truth, I'm not going to dive into it. It's too tough to, how could you separate those entities and the person who plexes versus the person who sells the plex and buys with credit cards? Like, it's tough to compare, but I will say this caught my eye, and when he said they're developing for the group that yells the most, and this is something. So I got into a Twitter conversation earlier today with Dirk. My point on another blog post actually it was a Reddit post I turned into a blog post. I have some really long Reddit posts that I'm going to try to convert into blog posts because I just feel like it fits the environment better, and I want to document a bunch of stuff that I've said in the past and just kind of keep it fresh. But since CCP for the past few years have decided to go back and their model has been, we're going to use the vocal minority as our sounding board and listen to them. I'm going to make the argument. Now, I should probably sit down and graph it out and make sure that I'm not talking out of my ass here. But I would make the argument that since they've made major dramatic changes to the game over the past year and a half, that was from people who decided they knew how to game design better than CCP, player numbers have dropped in half. I'm talking about changes that were requested by a lot of people, talked about for a long time. Power projection, making large fleet fights not a thing, and that's not really a CCP fault per se, but their hardware can't handle it, and the client can't handle 4,000 people in the system. So discouraging those kind of fights is horrible for marketing, and I think detrimental to the game, but I could almost make an argument why it kind of had to happen. Aegis/Fozzie jump fatigue, jump range of capitals. These are all hits on blobs, and they're all hits on things that people wanted, they claimed they wanted. And then if you, in my opinion, like I said, me or somebody better than me, and there's plenty of people who are better at analysis than I am, especially when it comes to numbers, really should graph major changes with the slope downwards of active players in the game, right? And we're talking, the only real number we can go on is the daily active numbers. Kripa has Eve offline .net, I believe it is, and that website he uses to track daily logins. And my opinion, there's a direct correlation. Direct correlation between these game decisions that CCP listened to the vocal minority about and the decline in player base, right? Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to say about that. 2 good blog posts. The Greedy Goblin one isn't really a good blog post, but I thought it was entertaining. And like I said, that one thing jumped out at me. It's a quiet day. There's not a lot going on. And tomorrow, Monday, I'm going to take a drive. I'm still in Vegas. I'm going to take a drive over to the Atomic Bar for eVegas. Now, eVegas is doing the atypical meetup this year. Let me see if I can find. What are we doing here? So eVegas, I know we're going downtown Vegas, which I was not particularly happy about, but such is life. And we're doing a bar crawl, kind of, sorta, in downtown. And I cannot find this. Hold on one second. Cool, found it. So what we're doing is the Vegas pub crawler. It's just cool. Like, I've seen it before, actually. It must have been downtown sometime. I had to go downtown. I think I went to the fire store. They have a little fire museum store you can buy Vegas fire stuff in. Anyways, It's 15 passengers. It's this pub crawler thing. I think they're giving us a tour. I don't know how many of these things they have, or they're just. It's like a mobile. It's like you sit on it. You sit, but it's exterior, right? So you're sitting around a bar that's on wheels. It's kind of cool, kind of weird. I'll put a link to it, and we're gonna use that. They're giving us a tour. I think they're kind of being our tour guides if I'm reading in between the lines here. But the really cool thing, especially for people who played Fallout, and I'm a huge Fallout fan. Like, I've played Fallout forever. I got into the franchise late. I started with Fallout 3, went back and played Fallout 2. Didn't really play Fallout 1. It was a little just too retro for my taste, especially. There wasn't really a good relaunch of the actual game, and it was just too. I couldn't get into it. But I played Fallout 2, Fallout 3. I played Fallout 3. If I told you 1,000 hours, I'd probably be lying to you. I played every useful mod there was for Fallout 3. Fallout Vegas, New Vegas, I played that 1,000+ hours, every mod you can think of. I love it. And why I'm bringing it up is, in Fallout New Vegas, one of the locations is the Atomic Liquor bar, which we're going to. I am super excited to take a picture in front of this. It's cool. If you ever play Fallout Vegas, they don't map out the entire Vegas territory, but there's some definite landmarks. And they also try to mirror Vegas back in the, I want to say 1950s, 1960s, if I remember correctly. So it's not modern day Vegas as we would know it, but there are some casinos there you would recognize. And some places, the Vegas sign's an easy one. Some of the towns around Vegas, Prim and Silver Springs, and Atomic Liquor is another location in downtown Vegas that you see in the game. And I just can't wait to take a picture of it. So it's cool. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there. I'm going to talk to the staff there. Maybe I can get a little interview, kind of give you guys a little heads up of what we plan to be doing, how the environment is at Atomic Liquor. It should be cool. I'll try to go when it's kind of quieter during the daytime, so I can actually give you a better feel for it. Maybe I'll take some video at night too. But I'll definitely head down there. It's Vegas. Every day is crazy. Saturday, Sundays. Tonight I'm going out, but Sunday, Monday, I'll definitely get down there ahead of Vegas. Look, it is entirely possible I might still be here when Vegas kicks off, and Vegas kicks off. So it's only 2 weeks away. It's almost not even worth it. Today's the 3rd. I was planning on coming on the 20th. It's becoming not even worth flying back home and then flying back to Vegas. Might as well just stay here, right? Anyways, so that's what's going on. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. It's Saturday, and I'll catch up with you guys later in the week. I'll probably wait a few days before I record the next episode, or if something amps me up, I'll just record. I enjoy the flexibility of this kind of medium. So, cool. Peace.